Leapset brings merchants to consumers and consumers to merchants. What's missing in the Leapset ecosystem is a way for consumer to express the dining experience through the merchants. Consumer perception analysis is the solution to that problem. The simplicity is the key without having a tedious questionnaire. So here's what happens. The consumer checks into a restaurant and he has his meal and then pays. When the transaction is completed, a screen pops up in his mobile and that's the screen, and the consumer is one touch away from responding. He has the option of commenting, and there's a trade-off between simplicity and the amount of information collected. And even though the information collected from here is limited, combine it with the backend information, data, and it's powerful. The merchant can attend to unsatisfied customers then and there and save his clientele. And he has a lot of information for pattern recognition and prediction and recommendation, and he can even share positive feedback on social networks.
Alright, so that is within 1 minute. Now starting from Shanil, you have 2 minutes to ask questions and provide feedback.
It's a very good idea. This is obviously integrated to the existing app that you're talking, right? The payment can be made through any way. Then this could be like a different tab in the existing app that you can, after experience. How do we know that the person has completed the transaction?
Any person can check in using the mobile app, but for rewards program, the check-in has to be validated with the payment, right? So that payment triggers this.
So somebody can pay by cash,
Yes.
not necessarily by phone, but that will trigger the fact that he had paid.
Yes.
That will allow him to give a rating.
Yes.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yes. Same way, the consumer gets rewarded for cash payments. He doesn't have to pay by credit card to get rewards.
Yes.
Similarly, he can do a response after he does his cash back.
Now, my question is, how do you trigger a completed transaction, right? So this happens when the consumer has completed a transaction with the merchant.
Yes.
Otherwise, he will keep, you know what he can do, right? He will take that and keep giving feedback whether he is not in the restaurant or not. Or he may be even checked in and give 10 feedbacks for the same transaction. Right? So how do we ensure that the transaction is complete? And the transaction can be completed in multiple ways. One is he could have paid by cash, he could have paid by credit card, he could have paid by PayPal, all of that, right? So we need to capture the fact that the transaction is complete and then give the consumer the chance to give feedback on that transaction. So how do we do that?
All transactions go through POS.
Yes.
So when the transaction is registered in the POS, that triggers this instance.
So how does that trigger that to this consumer?
We'll
Because I went in and paid in cash, I'm Shanil Fernando, there's no registration of myself.
There is a registration with the mobile app.
So this is predominantly for consumers who use the mobile. Via the mobile, you check in and your order is done. Then
so I checked in through the
how do you trigger the payments?
yeah, but I paid by cash.
Yes, so in that case it's via the POS. This person has checked in. So you have to relate the checking to the POS and then send a notification of that.
So at the point of payment, there has to be a trigger. You remember this. There has to be a trigger that says, okay, I just paid for it, and the person who just paid for it is Shanil Fernando who has checked in.
Yes.
So you need to have that link.
Yeah.
Then the message goes to the app. Hey, you just finished this thing. Rate the experience.
You can use push notifications.
Yeah.
Next.
Alright. So is there an incentive for the consumer to rate?
Right now, from a prior example, not so average Joe implemented something similar. What they did is they mounted an iPad in the restaurant and they asked the customers to, after the meal, give a response. And their responses increased by 200% within a month. So I believe that if this comes to their mobile, they would not need a specific incentive like maybe a reward to respond, because either they respond by touching on this smileys, or they wipe it away. In either case, it's one touch.
Can this be used for delivery kind of orders as well?
No,
Or is this limited to in-store dining?
Yes, because when you deliver, you don't, you will not be responding after you have consumed the food. So the three interfaces for consumers and merchants are the OLO, the Leapset Lite, and the mobile app. You're in online ordering, where after they order, we wouldn't know when they eat. So we can't ask for consumer experience at that point. So yes, this is for dining with the mobile.
Yeah, but you can have it even for online ordering, right? That's also a transaction. After you finish the transaction, you give a rating.
If the delivery is late or something.
So now you collect this feedback, and I have two questions. One thing, what is the exact value that Leapset gets out of this that you think, and how do you present this to the merchant, and in what format and what frequency, and how you present this to the merchant?
For Leapset, the merchant is the direct customer, not the consumer. And using this app, the merchant can improve on his service. All merchants value consumer feedback, and that is their incentive to use this. And I suppose this will come with an upgrade of the mobile app, the consumer app, and there has to be an upgrade on POS system as well. So the answer to your second question is, how should I present it to merchant? So if, let's say, a consumer didn't like his service, the food got served late, in that case, he might leave the restaurant, go home, publish on Yelp, I had a disgraceful service at this restaurant. The merchant can stop that. If that consumer responded as not coming back, then on real time, the manager gets the message, and he can go to that consumer and ask what's the problem, and maybe using some reward program or somewhat, he can deal with the unsatisfied consumer.
I think the other stuff is that you can merchant can get a list of all feedbacks is received, analyze it by date, by the waiter, by the type, potential type of food, all of that, right? So there'll be a lot of analytics around customer satisfaction. Actually, per waiter is probably going to be the most useful for the merchant.
From a reporting point of view, you should be able to identify the sentiment over a period of time and see whether we are improving or we are declining in quality.
One quick question. You said that combining the ratings that the customer gives with back-end information. I just want to know what kind of back-end information.
It's tough to say which waiter served this consumer. There might be a way around it, but I'm not so clear about that. But other than that, okay, for instance, I frequent Burger King this many times, and over the period, this is how my perception got, whether it got better or whether it got worse. Those type of information cannot be acquired directly from one instant. So at the back end, for each receipt, for each registered consumer, this gets stored, and then with analytics you can see how you are performing, and whether this person has come with 10 people, or maybe with just another friend, and if there's a difference between how we perceive, so that the merchant knows whether he is able to serve 10 people at once satisfactorily or not.
There's a trend between small groups, big groups.
Then one last question. Did you think about, so for like quick services, like sandwich type places, did you think about having this sort of thing on our customer display? So he's paying, he'll take this service. Is that a possibility, or is that something you thought about?
No, that's not something I thought.
Well, that's a good idea, you can implement, right?
So, did you think about this by yourself?
Yes. Yes. First of all, after looking at inside, I can look at this idea.
Okay. So, by the only thing is, if I'm so you're going to add value to the restaurant, if I'm the manager of the restaurant, I would rather do this before I do the payment, right? So what that allows you to do as the guy, as the manager of the restaurant is, I don't want you to go out as a unhappy customer. Right? If you're going to rate me as bad service, I can probably come and give you a 50% discount or coupon or something and make you happy, so that your bad reviews won't go in the social media about the restaurant. Plus, I can take immediate action about what went wrong. So you're unhappy for a reason, maybe it's food, it's just waiter, maybe it's something on you that you post it on something saying it's bad service, by you changing your perception when you go out, matters a lot. I can't remember, but we discussed something similar. That's why I asked you, you came up with supervisor. Think about it. I think that
What you're saying is you need to let the merchant react.
the owner react before the payment is done, to make him less angry about
As
it.
in, during the course of your restaurant,
Before he leaves the restaurant,
if the
you should
food
have
is
a way
delayed,
to
you should
correct
be
it.
able to in time say I'm happy because of this reason.
Because if you're, even if for us, if we're in a restaurant and we are treated and corrected at the same place, we will work out not so angry, right? But if we're not corrected, we go out and give bad comments about it. And these guys definitely hate bad comments. So, just idea.
So you got to stop that.
Not
just judges.
Otherwise, you won't move fast.
I think a lot of questions were asked, a lot of things that I want to cover, but one other I think that when you have a group of people having at a restaurant, right, how can we make sure that every individual or multiple feedback sessions can be done? Because one guy might not be happy with the food, the other guy might be okay with the food, right? So overall, rather than making it the overall not very happy comment, it might end up being, and when you average it out, right, then you can pinpoint where the issue is. Rather than having a group of 10 people saying we are very unhappy and going and saying we're very unhappy customer, then you are trying to see whether might not what happened to the group. But when you give the option to feedback to multiple people, you might be able to find issues.
If four guys check in who are on the same table, 4 people can give feedback. On the
So
same
they are not splitting the, if they are splitting the bill in case, if they are not splitting the bill.
even if they're not fitting, you can, right?
No, with my model, this is triggered when the payment is made.
Yeah. Triggered to one.
It's triggered to one person.
One bill.
One receipt.
One bill, right? So it has to be, one bill should have multiple, even if it has multiple people splitting across and then paying one bill, you should be able to give them multiple access.
So this is because this is for like mostly going to be used at like a sit-down type restaurant, right?
Yes.
So like what Chandra said, if we can implement some sort of a during the course of your meal or something where you are allowed to give a rating. numbers and assign seats, you probably can implement these things. You should probably do that.
Table number.
Yes, because you will get
talk about
a
implementation details because
lot of value out of
if
it.
you book a restaurant, when you book a table, if you get the customer name, there's a connection in between. Otherwise, I think your implementation details, how to trigger that thing.
Gentlemen, time for this contestant is up. So separately after this session is over, you all can review.
And overall,
discuss it.
You should give one opportunity for the audience
Exactly,
to ask the
that's what I was
question
coming to. So any questions from the audience or any suggestions? Anyone? Asif?